What's up, guys? Big Papa Leads here. Just back from a great trip to Arizona with the Leadbase crew. Had a great time down there with some friends, just getting away for a little bit. But work did not stop, and we're back home now in the cold, in the tundra of Canada. And today I wanted to share a video that I kind of got inspired by just from talking to people in the Bootcamp and in the free Discord as well. Guys, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but if you haven't joined the free Discord, make sure you join it below. You can get access to a bunch of different conversations around lead gen. There's almost 850 people in there. At this point, it's an active Discord. I'm in there every day answering your questions and giving you my opinions on things and from our experience. And if you're interested as well, there's also the paid bootcamp where you can get access to our course, the weekly calls with myself, a private Discord where I'm even more active, and you can do that all for $50 off right now. If you use the code FIRST50, that's $50 off your first month of the bootcamp. It is a monthly subscription. You can cancel anytime. It's kind of a no-brainer, but you don't know me. So join the free Discord first and see how it goes for you there. So today I want to talk about the biggest reason that I see new lead generators fail. And obviously there's a lot of different reasons that people might fail in their marketing agency. We've seen a bunch of different types of agencies spring up over the past several years. With COVID, there's SaaS agencies, people using Go High Level. There's just the retainer agencies out there. There's commission-based agencies. There's social media management. There's all these different types of agencies. When it comes to lead generation, the biggest thing I see is people seeing early success that doesn't translate to long-term success. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times it's really easy to get an early win, or what you think is an early win in lead generation that doesn't end up leading to anything more. For example, I've got an account here. You can get lead form leads. And guys, I know I talk about lead forms a lot and I kind of bash them, but this is just the truth. You can get lead form leads for super cheap. And a lot of times you'll start off, you've got your first client, you're running, maybe it's solar ads, and you run a lead form and you're like, whoa, I just got my first lead for $10. Oh, I got another lead. That was $20. And you get a few leads under your belt and you deliver the first order. Your client's stoked because they're like, look, you got me leads. And you're like, yeah, I did. I'm the best lead generator ever. But then the client works through the leads and let's say you've sent them 20 and the contact rate's just not there. No one's picking up the phone. There's fake information. Betty Sue is 5 of the leads. She filled out 5 forms, or did she? And you've had this initial success where you're so excited because you've got these leads for less than the people, your clients are paying for. But then again, you realize that the quality just isn't there. And I think that's where a lot of people give up on lead generation. They reiterate that a few times. They try a few things on lead forms. They tweak some stuff, but it just doesn't end up working. It doesn't end up getting them the results that they need, or the results that the client needs. So that's pretty much what I want to talk about today is how can you avoid that trap of falling into that initial the initial excitement, but how do you push through that to get really high quality leads? So that's what I think a lot of you guys have to realize is that to compete in lead generation, you're going to have to think outside the box. You're going to have to be better than the competition. You're going to have to do things differently, because if your ad just looks like every other ad on the newsfeed, you're not going to win long term. You're not going to, sure, you can get a few leads and maybe you're happy, like, I got some, I sold leads for $50 and I got them for 25. I'm just going to sell 100,000 now and I'll be a millionaire. That's not how it works. You're going to have to grind. You're going to have to think outside the box. You're going to have to reiterate a bunch of different times to make this work. So let's dive into a few ways you can break through the mold of that initial success fallacy, as I'm calling it. I just coined that term. So the first thing I'll talk about, I'll kind of answer a question that I'll pose to myself here. The question is, and this comes from a lot of different people, is when should I move from lead forms to a landing page? Because we teach in the bootcamp that you start with lead forms, so you can test things really quickly. It's easy to set up. You can get leads cheaper, and then you can kind of figure out which creatives are working, and then you can take those creatives and move to a landing page. So again, maybe you've seen this initial success. You've got 25 leads under your belt, or maybe maybe you can't get any leads, or you've only gotten a few and you're really frustrated. How to, or when to move from the lead form is the question. My advice is to move away from that lead form as fast as you can. If you have 20 or 25 conversions, you should move from a lead form to a landing page. And the reason you should do this is because you don't want to continue to send your client lead forms leads, thinking that they're good when in reality they just probably aren't. And you're going to have to move to a landing page so that you can collect more information, you can sort through leads, get rid of tire kickers. You're going to pay a bit more per lead, but your client's going to be happier long term. And this happened to me with my first ever brand that we created called Timeshare Tracy. We started with lead forms. We signed one of the biggest clients in the industry. They bought 100 leads right off the bat. They paid up front. I was like, this is the sickest thing ever. I think we sold the leads for like $50. So I think they paid us $5,000. And I remember getting leads for like $12 on lead forms. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Like I just cracked the code. And so we delivered that order. I guess it would have costed us $1,200 and we made $5,000 US. And we're like, we just made $3,100. This is going to be the easiest thing ever. And very quickly we realized that those leads sucked. Like the client was like, hey, these leads are brutal. Like we get way better leads ourselves. Like this isn't going to work. And again, that's just because, guys, I'm sorry, but lead forms, they're just brutal. So we really quickly had to iterate to a landing page and start to just qualify those leads better. And I think a lot of people don't understand the disconnect there is with the lead form. Like people can't really comprehend, like, why wouldn't a lead form work versus a landing page? And honestly, I don't exactly know. All I can do is speak from experience, but I think a lead form is actually Facebook's targeting a different pool of people when you go to do target lead forms, because they know the type of people that will fill out lead forms, which is like scammers and like maybe older people and just people who aren't that motivated. And if you target for landing page, you're going to get a more motivated pool of people because they're in the pool of people who are likely to fill out a landing page or more extensive form. So you're already getting higher quality traffic just based on the conversion event that you're going for. And so moving to a landing page or a quiz funnel is just going to be crucial. So again, maybe you've got your first client, you've given them some leads, they've fired you because they're choked about the quality, but you're actually in a really good place right now because you've delivered an order, you've gotten leads under your belt, you know that some creatives are working, and now it's time to go over to a landing page. So I know I've showed you guys this landing page a few times, but this is just so easy to set up, especially if you're in the bootcamp, because you just get this template in the bootcamp. So if you pay for 1 month, sign up for 1 month of bootcamp, and you can cancel whenever you want. You get this funnel, you get all our funnels, you learn how to text verify leads, all these different things. So I like to test one variable at a time, but when it comes to going over to a landing page, you can test a few things at once. So there's going to be a few pitfalls that happen when you go to a landing page. One is going to be, I guess I should say there's a few different variables that could trip you up. One is going to be your quiz, one is going to be the landing page design, and a third is going to be your headlines. So those are the three things you have to be aware of. So you've taken a lead form that's a small little box. You're going to basically translate that information over to your landing page. And when you're going from lead form to landing page, you want to keep what was working on the lead form on that initial landing page. So I've got one that's a bit more, it's not advanced, but it's using leads hook as the quiz. It's using unbounce as the builder. So we've tested dozens of different headlines here. We've tested dozens of different quizzes in terms of the first question we want to start with, and we've tested a bunch of different landing page designs. So again, this is where you're going to have to really continue to test things. On your first round of testing, you've tested your different creative, you've tested your lead form. Now you want to get your traffic to a landing page and increase the conversion as much as you can. And you saw my last video where I split tested things using the AI traffic feature, smart traffic on Unbounce. That's where I'm testing all these different things out. And this is going to separate you from 90% of lead generators if you can just push through this part, because you might lose a couple bucks or you might just break even. I tend to not lose money because I'm very careful. As long as you have already run your lead form and you've been profitable, hopefully you've made a bit of money on your first order, invest it into testing, because this isn't about short-term money. This is about long-term money. So when we bring a lead here, again, there's a few different things that can happen. And you're just going to have to test out, again, quizzes. You're going to have to test out headlines. But what's really important is that you have a very, very clear headline, and very clear like subheadline. All this stuff needs to be very clear, because a lot of people will put like, get a free quote or find out how our team can help you. And it's just like, nobody cares. There's no congruency between your ad and the landing page. So you need a very clear headline. Again, this is just one of 10 headlines I'm running. You could have Get your family coverage without a medical exam. That could be a headline. Maybe your ad talks about how you don't need to go in for a medical exam. People don't want to do that. You could have get your family covered for less than $30 a month or $1 a day. That's what I got here, right? So I've tested a bunch of different things. I added this because I wanted people to know that we're getting other people approved. And then when it comes to your quiz, another mistake people make is they put some big mistakes. Guys, this is kind of just a rant video. Hopefully that's okay with you. But you'll try and collect name and email first and phone number. I don't recommend collecting those first because that's just way too much information to ask right off the bat. It's like, do you get married to someone on day one? No, you ask them on a date, you wine and dine them a little bit, you go for a walk on the beach. You got to get these leads used to saying yes. So this one starts with select your age. Sometimes we start with, do you live in the target state or do you live in the United States? And people are like, hell yeah, we do. So easy questions to start. Do you have life insurance? We ask a bunch of different questions here. How much coverage are you looking for? Do you have any health conditions? Are you a smoker? This one spits out, you qualify for, we insert the amount they wanted. This is nothing crazy, but this flow is very easy. This looks good. You really got to think about mobile as well. So I will quickly, I can't show you guys mobile, but you can go to this page if you want. And basically, I'm just warning you, make sure you optimize for mobile first because 90% of your traffic is going to be mobile. So we make sure this is optimized for mobile. It's easy to click. You got to make sure that it is easy. If the quiz is below the fold and it's all big letters and there's big buttons and it isn't easy to work with, people will not fill it out. If you give them one reason to click off this page, they will click off this page. So you got to make it really easy for them. And that's just a combination of, again, design, headlines, keeping them enticed. They're going to get something for filling out this quiz. And this is like, get my family 650 in coverage. Like, oh, what does that mean? Like, yeah, I want to get my family coverage. Like, I guess life insurance isn't that sexy, but I'm trying my best to make it sexy by saying, get your, this, one of the headlines we have is this policy could pay your kids $500,000, which is it's life insurance. That's what it does. But people don't really think about it like that. So they click through and they fill it out. And these leads, we get them for a good price and we're able to sell them at a good margin as well. And this just works. This just works well because this is a good user experience. It's easy to fill out. So that's another thing to consider. That's why I like Unbounce and Leads Hook. And that's why, in my opinion, Unbounce and Leads Hook is just so much better than Go High Level because Go High Level is very clunky and very finicky with their landing page builder. They are a jack of all trades. I would say they're best at email marketing and their CRM's great. But in terms of landing pages, they're just not as good as Unbounce and Leads Hook. They load a bit slower. If you have one more second of load speed, you're going to lose 25% of people. Like it's all these things add up. And that's the biggest tip for today. I'll stop ranting is that, again, you're going to hit these roadblocks in lead generation. You're going to be frustrated when your leads aren't good quality. You're going to be frustrated when clients don't like your leads. And that's just the name of the game. But if you can push through and build a funnel, again, this takes 6 to 12 months to really dial in on one niche. And this is why we focus on one niche at a time. But if you can commit to that, you dial in a funnel, you're going to crack a code one day. And again, I remember it took me almost 12 months during, maybe it was more like, it was 6 to 12 months with Timeshare Tracy. Again, we were just grinding. We were going through clients like nobody's business because we just couldn't get it right. We finally found some clients that really knew what they were doing, and you need good clients that can work leads. And we finally had a landing page that was just really kind of sorting out people, getting them through enough of a process, and it just clicked. And we started selling just 500 leads a week. Like, they're flying off the shelves. And it took there's a lot of times where I was like, F this, like I'll just go back to doing retainers and making garbage money. But we just stuck with it and it worked out for us. So guys, that's my rant of the week. Big pop of leads here. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, it's just to encourage you, maybe it's because my life's with lead generation is kind of like a roller coaster. I'm like super high on one accomplishment and then super down when something doesn't go right. And it can be hard when you're in the valleys there. So stay encouraged. If you have any questions, maybe you're stuck in a situation like I talked about today, go to the free Discord, tag me, and please don't DM me just because I get a lot of DMs. Tag me in one of the channels and I'd love to help you out and answer any questions that you do have. And if you're interested in the bootcamp, remember it's $50 off your first month and you can get access to all these templates. So I will leave you guys with that and I will see you in the next video. Big Papa Leads is out.